Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Danae, and I'm here with a message for you. Today, I was feeling a little bit freaky, like I want to do something a little different. So, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to split the deck once, first and foremost. I've already shuffled, and then I'm going to split it 3 times just to kind of get a different vibe today and what I'm kind of letting the spirit guide. I've never done pick a card on camera. Don't really fancy them in general, to be honest, but I wanted to just switch it up. So what I'm going to do today is we're going to turn the top over, pile 1, 2, and 3, of course. I'm going to turn the top over to see what the current vibe is, and then consider what's under the deck as what's on the horizon, perhaps. And let's just experiment together and see how this goes, okay? So pile 1, pile 2, pile 3. And I'm not time stamping or anything like that, so perhaps you'll find a message in all 3, and that'll be amazing. But if not, you can fast forward as you see fit. All right, here we go. Experiment with pile number 1. Top of the deck, we have the Hermit card. So this is the current energy you may be in, which is about going inside internally and searching your inner light, searching your inner self. You may be in a space right now where you're pretty isolated, perhaps. A lot of times the Hermit card is in solitude, even sacred solitude, because the Hermit specifies or indicates some type of inner search or deep dive to your own personal awareness, or even to bridge a connection with your way showers and guides and your angelic force and guidance. In spirit and in truth. You lost light a little bit. Let me try to turn it up again a little bit. It does that sometimes on its own. Yeah, so the Hermit indicates that you're either going within to search for some sense of enlightenment or direction, understanding, clarity, going internally to maybe clarify some things or even cleanse some energy so that you can, kind of flush out that divine channel where your angelic forces and wishers and guides can lead you through your internal compass. When we look at the Hermit card, that's generally like Virgo energy. Virgo is the master, also the teacher. So at this time, you may be polishing some creative perspective of yourself, or maybe diving deeper into some creativity that from within yourself that you want to learn more about. Maybe polishing some aspect of your business, or of whatever intellectual interest you might have at the time. Maybe something in particular is drawing you in to learn more about it or to do more research. And I would say follow those impulses, especially now, because the things that are calling us, so every now and again, well, for me, not every now and again, it actually happens quite often, but sometimes I'll get the impulse to look something up, and there really is no cue or no real reason for me to do it. Just something will come up in my spirit to look up, and I'll look it up, and it may send me on through a whole rabbit hole of research, or just me learning something that I didn't even think I wanted to know or needed to know. Follow those impulses, because sometimes that's, again, that internal compass being directed by spirit to lead you to some information that's either going to be enlightening or that may broaden your horizons or even direct your path in some strategic way. You know, it might be the answer you didn't think you needed, okay? So that's the current energy. Let's see what's on the bottom. Oh, yeah, and the High Priestess, and that's exactly what I mean. This is an amazing combination here. This is guidance from the inner self, and this is divine alignment. So, as I was saying, you know, sometimes those impulses, both from a practical perspective, like I was saying before, maybe you're just learning your craft a little bit more, you know, polishing your craft, or, you know, learning more about the business that you want to be a part of, learning more about a particular point of interest, whether it be professional or just personal and casual, that it takes you something that draws your attention in and compels you to know more. Follow those intuitions, because as I said, those are the impulses that may be broadening your spiritual perspective in ways that you didn't even know you needed them to be broadened. Those are the ways that your way showers are leading you in a practical sense to some understanding of divine truth about yourself, which in the High Priestess position is ultimately expanding your intuition, your emotional intelligence to a very high standard. You know, you got the Master here with the Hermit card. When you think of Virgo energy, they are very particular about their presentation. They're very meticulous about information and knowledge, and very structured in a sense. They're not afraid to practice. You know, they're not afraid to work hard. They're not afraid to invest a lot of energy into perfecting a thing. You know, that's why they are the masters. And if that is happening by way of your spiritual senses, there's no better investment to make, you know, I would say at this day and time. I would say also, though, on a side note, not to be too captivated by perfection, though, you know, especially right now. We're closing up Cancer season, which this energy is more or less a Cancer vibe. We're closing down Cancer season, and there was a lot of intel, a lot of emotional intuition and upgrades that we experienced energetically, and we're moving into some the future season, that being Leo, with that intel, and many of us are preparing to almost be an exhibition of sorts, you know, maybe not intentionally, and maybe some of us don't realize that we are, but that's what Leo season ultimately is. It's like lights, camera, action. You know, the stage is set for some performance of your creative perspective or your creative expression. And I would say the one thing that I would suggest is as intentional you may be about polishing your presentation, steer away from the confinement and the obsession even of perfection, because it's more important expression is more important in this time than perfection is per se. You know, don't be too caught up in how you do a thing, how you look doing a thing, how well you know it, how perfectly you speak, how eloquent you are, how polished your appearance is, how nice your clothes are, you know, how perfect your hair is and your makeup, and you know, whatever the case may be. Don't be too caught up on aesthetics, I would say, and even from an internal sense on feeling like you're the expert in whatever it is that you're expressing, because the spirit is here in both senses. You know, this is you in the practical sense, being open to allow the spirit to kind of filter in those voids where you feel like you may not be enough or quite measure up. that's where you allow yourself to be open to that intel to stream in from places known and unknown, or to even filter in information that you do know, because every now and again we can regurgitate or put into action something that we actually have known, but we didn't even realize it was useful information, like, or something that we did a long time ago that maybe wasn't even something we took all that seriously, and here it is coming back into play now. Maybe it was a hobby, maybe it was a book you read, maybe it was a class you took in college or in high school, some experience you had that has made more of an impression on your ability to make an impact or be an inspiration than you realize. Lean on that that trust in yourself and your spiritual nature, knowing that as long as you are open to the universe will most certainly be willing to pour into you and express itself from the capacity by which you allow it to. So it really is a matter of how open you're willing to be, not so much about how perfect and proper and poised you are in the most material and physical sense. Okay, this high priestess is saying that you're already equipped, you're in perfect, well, I'll say divine alignment, because it may not feel or seem all that perfect to you or even outside looking in, but you're in a perfect alignment for the highest vibration of creative expression, spiritual expression, and ultimately for some range of material expression. Okay, the high priestess is a channel for all of that, spirit, mind, and body. She's an open channel to bring forth the unseen intel, bring light to unseen, to inaudible, unseen intel in a very material sense. Okay, hopefully that made some sense. All right, so there we go. That's where you are now, and perhaps what you don't see coming for pile number one, or what you didn't realize was the truth of yourself. Okay. All right, so pile number two. Let's see where we are with you. Top of the deck. Oh, okay. We got the 10 of Cups here, which is about emotional fulfillment, wish fulfillment. 10 is the most of the cups and suits that the suit of cups that you can have in the deck. It is an implication that your emotional self is fulfilled individually and in some collective way, perhaps in a familial sense, meaning with family. Could be actual family, meaning a connection of bloodlines, or a generation of sorts of happiness. It can also mean some legacy being fulfilled or continued on in a very high vibrational way, where there is cups, there's spiritual energy. The couple here is open to receiving more beyond what they've already asked for. It implies that there is a fulfillment of wishes, but also an expectation for a continuation of that fulfillment and expansion of sorts. There's not much left to be desired when you're looking at the 10 of Cups. It's literally a rainbow. It's almost hard to find much to actually say about it. This is legacy, in the spiritual sense. Prosperity is implied, even though these are cup cards, but it just really speaks about there being a fulfillment holistically, and not just in the mature sense of energies, but also in the promise of the future. So there's been a foundation established for there to be future prosperity and contentment and happiness, ultimately, too, with the cups, the 10 of Cups. And it's a 10 card, which is the completion of a thing. So maybe there's it's been a long time coming to get to this point of happiness and fulfillment, but this is a very present state of energy, as we're denoting that the top of the deck is what's happening now, where you are now, that you are satisfied, you're spiritually satisfied, and that's an amazing place to be, because you're not looking for any external satisfaction. And because a lot of times when we are looking for external satisfaction and it's not a very present internal force, that's when we can sometimes settle or be entangled with influences that are not contributory to our highest good. They might be, immediately satisfying and gratifying, that immediate gratification energy. This is the opposite. This is the octave of that. This is, you've had patience to cultivate this space of contentment, and you continue to exercise gratitude and, and commitment to maintaining this space of contentment and happiness, and then diligence to continue to sow into it. As I said, as we have the children here, you're sowing a mindset of gratitude and happiness and contentment for what you have, what you've acquired, and also for a mind of faith for what's to come. And I also like to say that with this being a spiritual fulfillment, it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be wealth. It has to be riches. It doesn't have to be as materially robust and sensational, even though the card does imply that, because when you think about the human senses, we're sensational creatures, and we thrive on survival and security and stability. And this card definitely implies that and more. But I would say that even if there's not evidence of some material riches, actual material abundance, in the sense where your bank accounts are overflowing, or you're making hella money, or you live in a big fancy house and you drive a nice fancy car. To me, in this moment, this energy is speaking more to the internal space of contentment that you're cultivating. And to me, that's more important than anything, because it could be the Ten of Pentacles, where it's a clear indication that there's definitely wealth that you can touch and see, and maybe even taste and smell. I don't know how smells to be rich yet. But maybe there's all that in play. But this, to me, implies that there could be that, but even if there wasn't that, there's still joy, there's still peace, there's still happiness, there's still hope, there's still contentment, there's gratitude, there's grace, and most importantly, there's love, because the cups definitely represent emotional energy and love particularly. So that means that if you have none of that, nothing material to show for anything, maybe you even live on a shack on the hill and out in the middle of nowhere, and you're wearing the same 5 outfits every week, you know what I mean? And your kids are, they got 2 toys between them, you know what I mean? There's still this energy of contentment with what you have, and that's a space of gratitude where anything can be cultivated. When you're grateful for what you have and where you are, and most importantly, who you are, who you be, you can do anything with that energy. You can ultimately turn a 10 of Cups into a 10 of Pentacles just from the essence of that energy. So that's awesome. That's amazing, Pile 2. And yeah, and because you are in that very enviable space of existence, there are energies that would want to disrupt that, because the adverse, as I said, is that many, even we ourselves, are often, distracted, or at least focused in some way, shape, or form on material stability, on money, and on security in our livelihoods, and feeling safe and sound in our, in our measurable material, you know. And some people that don't really understand the value of the fruits of the Spirit, such as grace and peace and temperance and faith and kindness and all those things that are not really measurable, you know, by any societal standards, indeed, you know, and it's almost very subjective in a sense. You know, some people don't understand that energy. You know, they understand it enough to know that it's something that they don't possess, and so from the outside looking in, it can sometimes incite this sense of rage, maybe even jealousy, or just entitlement for those that don't for firsthand know and have the value of that essence, because perhaps they have, you know, focused on the material, you know, which is very easy to do because that's what we are conditioned to do in this earthly realm, societally, culturally, and every other way possible, you know, except for spiritually. It's quite the opposite. So, you know, some that may have a mind to establish themselves in some other standard of power and force and position may look to oppose that energy, either once again to cut it down because it's enviable to be in that space, and you know, to not be bothered by the constraints and confinements of the world, you know, ultimately, like I said, to literally have nothing and still be happy. That energy in itself is like pure gold. So there are some that either as a practice of entitlement would want to come and disturb that peace and that well-being, or would want to come and try to manipulate it for some personal gain, you know, or some reason to serve themselves. You know, I feel more with the Knight of Swords, it's more about an interruption and maybe even causing a blockage or a disturbance more than it is to even manipulate or steal, you know, or, you know, I feel like it's more of an intrusion than it is necessarily, you know, and an obstruction than it is to obtain, you know, because in the energy such as this, it's virtually impossible to really take anything from this space. You know, the only thing you could do for your own self-satisfaction is disturb it, you know. But I say in this time take heart that any energy that's in this intention, this low vibrational space of energy, where it's either intentional about obstructing and disturbing, or looking to, you know, monopolize in some way, shape, or form off of this vibration, is already self-defeated. You know, it's on two different timelines. It can't even enter a realm where this much spiritual fruit is produced right now. The spirit won't even allow those energies to cross-pollinate. The only entrance that it can have is if you allow it, if you allow it access into your force field. And I say that, you know, I would offer that if you're exercising this space of you know, spiritual elevation and exaltation, no matter what you have, no matter where you are, no matter who you are and what you do, that you just continue to keep your boundaries strong, maintain healthy boundaries, only allow people in this energy with you that are looking to be in addition to it or to cultivate it with you, and just be very vigilant about keeping your walls high against those that may feel entitled. That's what it is. It's the entitlement of those, okay, that may have even been a part, because this is like a family card. So it's the entitlement of those that feel like because there's some connection of sorts. You know, maybe it's family members, maybe it's friends or old friends, maybe it's co-workers, maybe it's just people that feel like they know you, or they have some connection to your energy, or they just themselves feel like, you know, like I said, it's an enviable space of a place of position to be this content and happy with life, you know, when clearly there's energy like this in the world around this energy, you know, to literally live in the chaotic world and still somehow be able to maintain your peace and your balance and your hope for the future and your gratitude for the present. You may have energies that know you, or maybe knew you at a time when you were on your way to this vibration, or have known you in some other, like I was saying, it's on two different timelines. They've known some other aspect of you and now feel like certainly, you know, you'll share with them because you're in such a high vibration that certainly you'll be willing to give to them. You'll be willing to share what you have with them. You'll be willing to, you know, have sympathy and empathy for where they are and what they need. You know, this card these days has been giving me hell of entitlement. You know, that somehow, some way, this energy feels like I'm gonna go get it, like that's mine, or it should be mine, or I could do better with it than they do, or they, you know what I mean? Or maybe even feeling like this is a naive place, space to be in, and that they can definitely take advantage. But be sure that you being in a blissful state of being does not mean that you owe anything to anybody outside of that, whether it's family, friends, frenemies, foes, strangers on the street, people that you meet, you know, those that you can identify and need, those that are not. What you have cultivated and what you continue to cultivate is between you and your divine spirit. You don't owe anybody anything for the sowing that you've done in your life. Just because you got it doesn't mean that everybody else gets it, you know? And I'm saying that because of the energy of entitlement that this card has given me, that some people may want to find their way back to your pearly gates, you know, whether they've been connected or inside them, those gates before or not, but you might find callers at your pearly gates demanding entry, you know, demanding access, you know, maybe even intruding into your space, or trying to. As long as you, you know, as I said, the only person that can truly grant them access, especially energetically and emotionally, is you. So don't get finessed into feeling guilty or feeling so sympathetic and empathetic that you feel like, well, I've been blessed with so much that I have to, you know, you almost guilt trip yourself into feeling like I have so much that I must, maybe it's just for me to share, or that's why I have it, or being fearful that if you don't share, even with energies that clearly don't deserve it, or at least are not as entitled to it as they think, you know, that it might be some negative blemish or curse upon you and what you've cultivated. No. This is an implication that you've worked to create this harvest, this space and time. You continue to work to stay here because it's very easy to fall out of this energy, as you can see. It's very easy to not be grateful for what you have, to be worried about what tomorrow will bring, to look at what you have and not feel like it's enough, or, you know, there's more to be done, or you know, there's so much more that you need to do to obtain, or more importantly, you know, resisting all that you've been blessed with because you don't feel like you're deserving of it. These two have their arms open to the divine, once again, believing that with the energy that they are grateful for what is, and that they're in expectation for more. And that's the energy that you can persist in no matter who comes a knocking. You have to be discerning of the energies that want to partner with you, that want to benefit from what you've created, that want to monopolize on what you have, that just want to taste a little taste of it. You know, you can't even share it with everybody, unfortunately, because these cups can easily be tainted by one drop of impure blood. You know, I don't know why I'm saying blood, but I am, because he has his sword out. That's why. So he clearly is looking for some type of bloodshed. Like, this energy is far more violent and aggressive than it may even present itself to be on sight, but it's coming from a distance, you know. So I guess this is fair warning that you have people that are watching your energy from far, near and far, and that believe that they have some entitlement to it or some connection to it, or that they might at least be able to manipulate so or such, you know, on account of your kindness and your generosity. And I'm here to tell you that grace is generous enough, and you do not have to sacrifice your peace of mind for the sake of anyone else that is not ordained to be, you know, that is not assigned to be the beneficiaries of your grace and of your blessings ultimately. Okay, so enjoy it, and leave the world out of it if you must. Share as you choose, and be and don't feel entitled to do anything or for anyone in particular, but for yourself and your legacy. All right, so that's pile number 2, 10 of Cups on the top of the deck. Awesome. Pile number 3, let's see what we got on the top. Oh, pile number 3. This is competition. Now it depends, and I'm probably going to see what the bottom card is, but you could be finding yourself in some space of competition and in the middle of some chaotic energy, or this could be internal for you. You know, it could be an internal energy that you're harvesting or harboring. I'm gonna definitely see what's on the bottom, because I don't want to say too much and project too much energy onto you, because the thing about it is that the 5 of Wands can also be just healthy competition. You know, like it could be a basketball game, you know, it could be sports, it could be just, you know, competition that is forwarding in a sense. It could be. But generally, how the 5 of Wands has been coming up, it's usually competition on account of you, you know, or in opposition to you, or over you in some way, shape, or form. So let's just see what's on the bottom of the deck to see what that. Okay. So it's competition on account of you and over you. Yeah. That's what it is, because this is the Queen of Cups position, and this is telling me that you may not even know how divinely blessed you are. You know, the Queen of Cups, you know, I often say she's the Holy Grail in a sense, because that cup that she's looking into gives the indication that she's always introspective. You know, she's always connected to her spirit, which is water energy. And this cup is just so cathedral looking, you know, literally has a cross on the top, that it always gives me Holy Grail energy. You know, it's unlike even the cup that the King of Cups holds. It's very ornament and, you know, even closed in a sense, you know, which gives the sense that she also knows how to protect her spiritual and her emotional energy. And the Queen of Cups is the master of emotional intelligence. She's very intuitive. She often can see things beyond their material sense. You know, she can often see beyond the veil because of the intuitive cues that are within her, you know, sort of like, you know, an inflection of the High Priestess in a sense, but the Queen, you know, she takes a position of responsibility for her court, you know, where the High Priestess, her main position is to herself and to the spirit. You know, she doesn't necessarily Of course, when we think about the vibe, the whole vibration of the Empress, you can imagine that, she does take responsibility for the collective in some sense, but the Queen of Cups says that there is an actual sense of responsibility, an actuality of accountability, pardon me, for others outside of herself, which means that it's even more important for her to be spiritually balanced and in alignment and in tune with her and her emotional intelligence for the benefit of her, and for others. She makes an impact on more than just herself. She has a kingdom to run. So I'm seeing this competition and confusion of energies that would want to compete with the energy that the Queen of Cups holds innately. And it's at the bottom of the deck because, again, it's like you don't even know how special you are. You don't even know how those little signs and signals and synchronicities that you think are just coincidence are actually empowering your very existence. You don't know how the little ways that you nurture your environment or the people in your environment, the way you love on people is actually healing, and it causes a commotion or causes competition to be the beneficiary of that energy or to be in possession of it. So I'm feeling the energy that it's like a hodgepodge of competition. Like some people just want to be in her world or want to be connected to her. Some people actually want to possess or overpower, overtake her, or even find some way to monopolize off of the power and energy that she possesses. And some people just want to be noticed by her, in some way, shape, or form. It doesn't really matter what the competition is. What matters most is that you stay in this position of stability, that you stay grounded and in tune with what your internal compass is leading and telling you to do as to who does get to enter your court, as to who does get to connect to your vibration, that gets to plug in. These are wand energies, literally, like get to plug in to your frequency, that gets to invest into your endeavors, that gets to benefit from what you have to offer. Everybody doesn't deserve the love of the Queen of Cups, even if they present themselves to be in need of it or in fierce desire of it. As we can see here, this is like people, they're about to kill each other for this queen. This is you don't even know. You have no idea how the impact that you make on people, because you're so in tune and engaged with yourself and your spirit, as you should be, that you don't even realize what a hot commodity that love and that energetic force is amongst those that find value in it and maybe even have never experienced that value elsewhere. So it's also important for you to maintain strong boundaries, to again stay in tune with your spirit and discern who gets to be a part and who doesn't. Being gentle as you are and gracious as you are naturally, to say no thank you to those vibrations that are going to cause a disruption in your energy, because she's at peace. She's like the water flowing effortlessly, freely. You are, if this is you're flowing freely and effortlessly, meanwhile not even realizing that you are the flow and force of the universe, and not even realizing how many people are dependent, and even feeling possessive of that force that only belongs to you. That's the key here. It's most important for you to know how impressionable and impactful you are, so that you can take extra precautions to know how much more you get to protect that and reinforce boundaries that would just keep yourself secure and safe from energies, whether these be well intentioned or not. It's kind of still giving me the energy of the Knight of Swords, because nobody should really be fighting this hard for something that doesn't belong to them. That's why I was saying before, like, it kind of could be just casual competition. Oh, she's mine. Oh, she's mine. Or it could be family and friends, that want to maintain their connection to you in some way that maybe is not as available as it once was, or in ways that are not holistically sound and healthy. Doesn't necessarily have to be like men intimately fighting over you, but it very well could be. If you're in this vibration of love, remember the cups is love energy as well, nurturing and spiritual essence. Emotional stability is the Queen of Cups. She's mastered her emotions. You know how hard it is to find a woman who's mastered her emotions, that's not just going to fly off the handle like a maniac, that's not just going to, cry at the first moment you hurt her feelings, or not just going to like lash out in anger because of a miscommunication or a misalignment, and that more importantly is willing to be and give and have unconditional love. That's a woman of high value in this earth today, that's not only willing to love, but open to being loved. You may have a lot of suitors that are just lined up to get their chance, and some of them may be well-meaning, some of them may be, a little questionable, and some of them may mean you absolutely no good. But I feel the contrast here to me speaks that nobody that loves you truly needs to really fight for your energy, needs to fight for that connection. There's still some underlining energy here, some self-serving vibration that is not altogether suitable for the high vibration of love that you possess. Even if it's someone that's fighting to so-called protect you, I just feel like they wouldn't find themselves mixed up in this chaos here. They would have been exalted in some powerful way to have, they would be in the Six of Wands energy, on the horse, the high horse, riding off into the sunset, past all this BS, you know what I mean? Not even willing to give their time and energy to this confusion, because the person that matches your vibration is going to know that there is no competition. You don't compete where you don't compare, and say the King of Cups, for instance, wouldn't even dare waste his time getting his hands dirty in this chaos and confusion here. He'd just go right on around and come and express himself to you clearly and plainly, not necessarily fighting and, tussling behind the scenes like a DICK measuring contest. Because to me, like, this energy here is competition more for ego's sake, each wanting to prove himself the most worthy, or the most gifted, or most powerful, or the one who has the greatest possession, or they're doing this for themselves, more or less, to prove themselves to themselves in one regard. And anybody that has to go through this energetic disturbance to prove himself to himself is not really on the vibration of love that a Queen of Cups would need and want in her life holistically. So again, it's important that you know the high value of love that you are, that you do, that you possess, and that you're worthy of. Keep your boundaries high and unapologetic to say no thank you to those that may even be willing to lay their lives down for your love. Every night I gotta fight to prove my love. That's the 5 heartbeats. Oh, literally the 5 heartbeats. That's crazy. Yeah, you don't need that. You don't need anybody that has to fight to prove their love. But when it comes down to protecting you, they're going to they'll make sure that you're protected and secure, and you will feel that way. But I feel like anybody that's coming to you in a vibration such as this, where they felt like they needed to even prove their own worth to themselves, is going to be more of a detriment to your pure energy than they are, an addition to it. It'll be more of a conflicting force in the long run, because ultimately they probably, once they get your love, they probably won't even feel like they truly deserve it. If you had to do all this proving to yourself without knowing offhand, then you didn't even really know your worth in the first place. You are just like this cup, like a trophy of some type of prize or accolade for what they feel they're lacking or missing ultimately. And you don't want to be nobody's trophy wife. This is the Queen of Cups, is for sure and for certain attracting pure, passionate, unconditional love that is already aware of its value and invaluable and pricelessness, all in its own, all on his or her or its own. So yeah, so that's that. You're amazing. You're a love bug. Everybody loves you. Everybody wants you, but you get to choose. All right. And so that's it. That's my first pick a card. Let me know what you think about that. Let me know which pile you resonate with the most, or if you resonate with all of the piles. And I think I'm going to leave it there. Until next time.